Welcome to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. Jeff, DiVeronica and Steve Bradley with the Webster Lakers. We're going to tell you about that nickname and also tell you about one of the best teams in Section 5 boys volleyball this season. We're actually catching them off a loss, which is not how we draw it up. But as we record this, they're 15-1 on the season. Certainly a contender in Class A and coached by a legend of Section 5 volleyball, boys and girls. His name is Greg Kennedy. He's with a couple of the key players for the Lakers, Joey Preische and also Bodey Goff, the junior setter. Joey, you guys are both juniors. You have some key seniors on his team, but certainly a lot of juniors that will be back next year. So Webster's going to be around for a little while, folks. Steve, this is a program that we did a little history lesson before we got going. It's been a while, hasn't it, Mr. Bradley?
Yeah, it has, but they went to 8-10 sectional finals in the 90s, state titles in 93 and 96. So a little bit of a rejuvenation, and it's kind of nice to see, Coach. We've seen a lot of the usual suspects with the Penfields and McQuaids over the years. What about your team makes it strong this fall?
Number one, the length of time they played together. These kids have been together since middle school, some of them playing even before that. And there was an opportunity to keep several of them on varsity when they were freshmen and sophomores, and that togetherness is paid off for this group. But even more so, they dedicate themselves off season. That hasn't been something Webster's seen. A lot of kids who, along with being multiple sport athletes for school, continue to play volleyball in the off season. So clubs like Hot Shots and Pace Bootlegger and the former Victor Club, these kids have participated and kept their skills growing on a continual basis throughout the year. And it's obvious to see how we've now joined the other schools that do that as well.
You guys are coming off a loss to Fairport, and it's a Fairport team that you beat in the Penfield tournament in the championship, and a great one there. I think it was 26-24. Zach Zion, MVP of the tournament, and Griffin Monrad and Evan. Help me with it, Lukowitz? Lukashewitz, extra syllable. Okay. Both all tournament team members. Joey, let me start with you. I know you guys might have been a little shorthanded, but you could see Fairport again. I think a lot of teams learn from losses. What did you guys learn about your team that night against Fairport in the loss?
One of the key things that we noticed about Fairport is a lot of their serve receive is up in the front of the court, and a lot of our serves were going deep but long. So we need to try to keep those inside of the court and try to force them to pass with their arms. But we just made a lot of unforced errors, and they had a really good distribution of the ball, and our block could not keep up with that. So we're definitely going to be on the lookout for those inside plays and the push to the pin in the future.
Your team has done a lot of things well up to this point on the floor. From your position, what do you see as the strengths of this team?
The diversity of our transition. You mentioned Zach Zion being MVP of the Penfield tournament. He's one of the best defenders around, and him being in our back row, as long as we set our block correct, the amount of hard-driven attacks from our opponents we've kept alive and then transitioned into multiple places for our offense. We don't have one leading hitter. We've got four that are near 100 kills apiece. And that's also, a credit to Bodey's distribution and Nick Angie, our other setter. They distribute the ball so well. And so you combine a really quick defense that just blankets the floor with that kind of diversity. And that's, I think, one of the keys to our success so far this year. The guys behind us right now, they're practicing out of system drills. It's about getting everybody involved.
Yeah, you can hear the ball hit the floor. And Bodey, let me ask you, as a setter, you're the quarterback out there. How great is it to have the amount of weapons you have? Been doing research for this interview, I'm like, which guys do I write down? Is it Griffin? Cal Lil's had some big games. Evan, Zach, Joey, Griffin. I mean, you're going on and on. How much of a luxury is that for you? And can you sense like a quarterback, like you're going to go to a guy if he's on? Can you sense that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. First off, everyone on the court, I can set, and I'm just confident that they're going to be able to make a play out of it, every position, no matter what. So it's great to have options. And, with that, some players are hot, and I just feed them. It's easy to tell. I mean, I set them, they get kills. So I was like, all right, I'll just set them again. And all the players get hot streaks like that. So I can do it with any of them. It's great.
Joey, volleyball is such an emotional sport, and momentum is really short-lived. It goes point to point. How does this team maintain positive momentum even when you deal with adversity?
I think a lot of it is attributed to the chemistry, and so this team is really close, not only like within volleyball but also outside of volleyball. We have a lot of team bonding things that a lot of the team participates in, and we're really just like a close bunch of friends outside of volleyball as well. And I think that helps with all of our energy because we're really just all comfortable with each other, and we really just don't mind like when one point doesn't go our way, we know that the next one is not even close to out of reach. So it's just a matter of coming back from the small losses and getting a bigger W.
Just a quick follow-up on that. This is a combined Webster team with students from both Thomas and Schrader, and we're familiar with the phrase "one Webster." But Coach, what is the makeup of the team? And we know that the Webster schools, when they compete against each other, give it everything they have. But it's not, how nice is it to see them come together and give it everything they have?
Oh, it's fantastic. We've got 8 kids from both sides of the district. There's 8 Thomas players and there's 8 Schrader players. When the district split into 2 high schools, we split into 2 boys programs, and it was a slow death of the program. Unfortunately, we just couldn't. Each side of the district would have a good 4 or 5 kids, but there was no way to round out the team. It got very hard to do practices, impossible even. So we started doing combined practices, even though we were 2 different schools. Coach Pete DeWitt was doing a great job with the boys over at Thomas, but we just found that every year the talent base eroded, even though we have this huge district. So the district finally let us recombine, and since then it's been a slow, gradual build, but we finally got athletes committed at the lower levels, and now we're seeing a little bit of fruition for that. But it's nice to have both sides of the district represented. They get along great. I have no clue that there are 2 high schools when we walk in this gym. No idea.
We will take a quick break, come back, talk more with Webster boys volleyball, one of the teams that's been on the outside looking in and hoping to break through this year and win the Section 5 title. You're watching us on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show.
The best 3 things here at McQuaid are definitely the sports, the brotherhood, and the service to community. I think that's a really big, important thing that McQuaid stresses, which is part of creating a better and great man. You definitely feel a connection with your fellow students here. It's being all guys school. You're able to relate to each other on a personal level, and everyone's very welcoming here with open arms and willing to be your friend.
While we celebrate 140 years of serving our community, the kind of delicious joy that lasts a lifetime, we look forward to serving you for 140 more. With hardworking, wholehearted, passionate people who will help shape new memories for generations to come.
You don't choose to get hurt at work, but you can choose the workers' comp attorneys at Connors and Ferris to fight for your money and medical benefits you deserve.
With over 20 years of industry experience, we will give your case our undivided attention so that you and your family can focus on your recovery.
So call Connors and Ferris, the workers' comp attorneys dedicated to fighting for injured workers' rights.
Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys.
Local McDonald's operators care about our local schools, teams, and student athletes. That's why they support the return of high school athletics in the Rochester area and around the state. See you before or after the big game at McDonald's. Welcome back, Section 5. Game on!
Why do you exercise? To look better? To feel better? To drop a few pounds? To train for an event? To defy age? Or to keep your ability to say yes to the things you love to do? Whatever motivates you, G&G Fitness Equipment is here to get you there. Treadmills, ellipticals, rowers, bikes, home gyms, and accessories. We'll pair you with the right equipment, teach you how to use it, and be there every step of your fitness journey. G&G Fitness. Your goal is our goal.
Welcome back to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. Jeff DiVeronica and Steve Bradley, our 20th season covering Section 5 sports. These two guys here on the screen, at least two of the three, they weren't even born when we started this thing, Steve. But Coach Kennedy has been around for a long time, and I want to start with a special announcement. He's actually going to be our G&G Fitness Coach of the Week. Congratulations, Coach. You won your 400th match this year, this season, so congrats on that. And going back to the 90s, 4 titles in the 90s, a state title back then. Coach, the evolution of this sport, it's grown quite a bit, obviously. How many Section 5 teams were playing back in the 90s? And then I want to ask a little bit about your mentors, too, as a coach.
Absolutely. The big growth in the sport was in the late 80s. So by 1990, mid-90s, actually, you all the teams you have now are pretty much had teams then. Pittsburgh was very strong back in the 90s. They defunded their boys team and fortunately just started it up again this year. It took over a decade to get Pittsburgh back on there. Greece had a team, unfortunately no team now. So you'd think that there's a continued growth, and there is at the younger levels because there was no modified programs. Now we have a modified program. So overall the numbers are up, but the high school count itself is not. And unfortunately, we'd love to have more city schools. This would be a phenomenal game for the city. And we just haven't been able to make that breakthrough yet, besides East and Edison and some other schools.
Coach, I want to ask about some of your mentors. Obviously, you've been connected with this sport, honestly, for at least in Section 5, about 35 years, back to 1987. Mr. Strage sent me a picture where you have hair in the picture, actually. So, kidding aside,
Photoshopped.
Where did you grow up, and why did you suddenly become, this was such a sport you gravitated toward?
I got very lucky. I was at Penfield. I am a chief, and I graduated in '83. But in the winter of 1980, Jack Hunter, phys ed teacher, and very famous in the volleyball community, kind of recruited me to come join a very strong Penfield chief team. And in 1980, it was Bishop Kearney was really strong. East High School was excellent with Robbie Britton. And Spencerport was the other county school. But otherwise, we were traveling. We were heading out to Livonia. We were heading out to Buffalo to play Sweet Home. And he got me to play, and I fell in love with it. And I had the opportunity of playing at Cornell after I came out of Penfield in '83. And then I became an educator in chemistry and environmental science, and was very lucky to have a position open here at Webster the first year I started teaching. So a lot of luck, but a lot of influence by Jack Hunter, especially Bill Guerrero, the athletic director at the time, and then a really close friend of mine, Ty Lambert, who was a counselor here for 30 years, was my JV coach, and we coached together for 27 years, and that was just spectacular.
Bodey, what's it like to play for Coach Kennedy, and what lessons does he, impart on you guys that go beyond the court?
Well, obviously, Coach has been around for a while, so he knows what he's doing. He's got a lot of experience, so it's nice to have a coach like him. And he's always telling us, try our hardest, don't be cocky, always fight to the end, no matter what. So, good coach.
Joey, is he the type of coach that'll raise his voice? I mean, a lot of coaches have to kind of throttle down now, but we know he's old school. What's Coach like in practice and during a match?
I would say he's very an untemperamental guy. I would say there's not a lot of emotion that comes out, because part of the reason is just the working together aspect of these practices and stuff, and it's all for like positive momentum and positive growth, and we're always trying to just be better as a team. So there's really no need for encouragement. Like not encouragement. There's really no need for like
criticism.
like
sure.
like deconstructive criticism. And so the only time that the voices are raised is when we're cheering or trying to get some like encouragement to get a ball, or like, yeah, if somebody shanks a pass and we're running it down, we're like, go, go, go. We're always trying to get there. And there's not a lot of like big like moves in tone. There's just really a lot of encouragement and a lot of positive like reinforcement that comes out during practice. So there's not a lot of raised voices.
Coach, let me ask you about these two guys in particular. Break them down for us. What makes Joey such a good hitter, and Bodey such a good setter?
Bodey thinks as long as the ball is in the gym, he can get to it. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure if the ball was out of the gym, he would get to it anyway. His motor is ridiculous. Joey's intensity is so focused, and no matter how well he does something, he rationalizes that there's a better way to do it. And that combination on the court, they're driving everyone to just step even higher. And it's all through positive nature also. One of the things I love about these guys is at the end of every match, no matter win, loss, doesn't matter. They are looking up to the crowd. They're looking up to their families. They're giving them a wave. They're clapping back. They're appreciative of the opportunity they've got, because we've gone recently through these last couple of years where we've lost these opportunities. My heart goes out to Mike Wyant, who's a tremendous volleyball player from here who graduated 2 years ago, went to Michigan State. He's there now having a blast. He lost his fall season. We had a makeup 2020 spring season. It just wasn't the same. And we weren't allowed to do a banquet, and we couldn't have a senior day. So these guys appreciate that. They've seen what some of the older guys lost recently. And I mean, you can tell their love, not for just the game, but for the opportunity, for their friendships. And it's just really great sight to see. It's fantastic. It's a really great community.
So we're getting into the end of the regular season. Postseason will be starting. What does this team need to do to maybe turn it up a little bit and bring that brick back to Webster?
I think one of the things that we need to focus on is our front row defense. A lot of the time we've been struggling keeping up with hitters, and a lot of our like eyes are being focused on the setter when we need to be focused on the hitters and where they're going. And I think our block is the main problem, and our defense really does a great job of playing around sometimes with our block, even though sometimes it's not the greatest. So I think one of the biggest things we need to work on is our block. But our serving has been, for the most part, consistent. At Fairport, we had a little trouble with getting our serves in, so we'll definitely have to work on that a little bit. But yeah, it's just our front row defense just needs to be better, and I think as long as that comes through, then we'll be in a good spot.
Bodey, let me ask you this. Section 5 is so traditionally very strong. You get out of Section 5, you can pretty much write your ticket to the state. You're going to the state final. Knowing that, you got to get past the Fairports and McQuaid's and the Penfields. But knowing that, how much of a carrot is that dangling that, you guys have a special team, and you will probably next year too, but that if you guys can play your best and get out of Section 5, you have a good chance to maybe win the whole thing. Is that something you guys think about or talk about, or is it we're going to keep that there for now until we get that Section 5 title?
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of talk about states or regionals or any of that. Right now, our focus is sectionals, because none of that's going to matter if we don't get past sectionals. So that's our main focus right now.
And that's a good answer, Bodey.
Hey, Coach, Joey's answer was almost like a scouting report. Part of putting together a strong team is the physical and the strategic, but the other part is the chemistry part. And when you've been through a lot of postseasons, where do you see this team taking a couple steps forward to make that postseason run?
They got off to such a great early start. It actually, shocked is the wrong word, because it would seem like it didn't see it coming. They hit a potential earlier than expected. And then they held on to that. Now, we haven't had a practice with our normal lineup in over 2 weeks. Someone has been, well, actually 3 weeks, between injuries and a COVID outbreak. It's definitely, muddied the waters. I'm looking for a kind of like a reboot and get right back on that conveyor belt that we saw in August and into September, where we just started doing some improvement every single day, clicking, getting back to where we need to compete against the Penfields and the Fairports. And I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. I look forward to it. And it's back to re-ramping that goal up of getting a little better every single day. And as you mentioned, Joey's response, he hit exactly what one of our major problems is, and that's exactly what we're working on.
Well, it was a great start. Your first 15 wins, all of them were sweeps except for one against a very a good Spencerport team. And we know Fairport got you, but I know that you guys are going to be there to answer the bell when it's all over. I think you guys are certainly a contender. And as Steve and I like to say, a lot of times, there's no disrespect to the traditional teams who have won a lot of titles lately. Good luck to you. It's good. We like seeing new winners, new guys holding that brick, new guys and girls. So has nothing to do with the fact that I reside in Webster, folks. It's the fact that we like seeing new faces and new kids getting to enjoy winning a championship. So we wish you the best of luck moving forward. For my co-host, Mr. Bradley, going in and out, and for our producer, Joe Brott, Webster, I should say. Good luck to you guys. Are practicing the Schrader Gym. You can see it over your shoulders. Good luck to you guys. And Coach, congratulations. I know you've done a lot of the little things behind the scenes, and I'm going to put my hand up and doing some research at the DNC. I didn't do enough with you in particular. You've been coaching for a long time, and it was Steve who said, let's make him coach of the week. 400 wins is a lot, and you've impacted the lives of a lot of young people. Let me ask one last question before we run. What keeps you coming back every year, Greg? What's the reward for you when you get geared up to do another season of volleyball?
First of all, I mentioned that there was also well into the 200s of losses also. So it just shows it's an age thing. So the
longevity, coach, not age, longevity.
Yeah, longevity. Okay, well, I've got a longevity of losses in there also. The what keeps you coming back? I don't know. Maybe it's a Peter Pan syndrome. High school is a great place if you find your niches and you find a want and a desire to contribute to whatever it is, whether it's marching band or show choir or keeps me young. I had a little bit of a health scare earlier in the year, and just all I was thinking about, get back to the kids. The kids keep you young. Kids keep you fresh. They remind you why you are old and out of touch a little bit, and that's great because I can try to keep back up and get my foot back in the door. So it's a blessed life.
That's a mic drop right there. That's a great answer. And guys, we wish you the best of luck. Joey, say hi to your old man for us. We play softball. We used to play softball with him. And Bodey, good to meet you. Bodey, don't call me Brody. It's Bodey Goff, folks. Bodey, no R. For Steve Bradley and Joe Brott, I'm Jeff DiVeronica. Thanks for watching us right here on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show.